Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Peter Kang. I'm an ex-banker, ex-hooligan, and you might know me as the lifestyle banker from TikTok. Today I want to talk about why I decided to start making content. How I went from being the financiest, analytical investment banker to making TikToks. First, let's start with the brass tacks. Let's talk about the monies. Money isn't my driving factor, but it makes the world go round. I am ambitious. I do want to better my life for myself, my family, my future family. So it is a big factor. I made 6 figures straight out of college, went to Hulu, got a bit of a pay cut, but still 6 figures. And most recently, I was making 200K total comp. At 27, making 200K, that's astounding, right? Even just fathoming the privilege to be able to walk away from that. I'm super grateful to be in that position. But thinking about it a different way, my biggest frustration was that my income was not scalable with my time. If I want to make that money, I need to trade 60 to 80 hours every week. If I outperformed 3x, I couldn't 3x my income somehow. So it was less about the actual number and more about being tied to my actual performance. For me, I realized that I was playing a losing game. I was getting paid by trading my time and energy, and I was using anxiety and my PTSD from banking as motivation to do that work. So it was like this all or nothing game that I got more and more pinholed into. And I need to continue to do that for about, 10 to 20 years. And then I will be something like a VP, SVP in a C-suite. And then I will have the influence and impact that I want to make. I realize we're in the midst of this very new thing called the internet and the information revolution, where I could start making an impact and reaching people much sooner through the content. And in another sense, I realized I was doing a bunch of complex strategic analysis and math, ultimately to gut check senior executive decision making, less so to actually create or make an impact. And don't get me wrong, this is not a bad job or career choice. You can become apprentices to these senior executives, learn how those decisions are made, and that's how you eventually become one of these important decision makers at a major corporation. And then you can, have a lot of influence, make lots of money, have a feeling of impact, things like that. I also don't think everyone should leave that role. There are plenty of people that know how to balance that with their life better than I do, and, collect that very good 6-figure income and build a good life for themselves and their family. But for me, the whisper that was saying that wasn't my calling was getting louder and louder. And, it was more like a scream of yeah, I think you're maybe meant to do something else, dude. Another reason that I'm making this content is because it's actually I'm finding it very therapeutic and fun. Investment banking was very hard. And I was so focused on surviving and crushing it and making sure that I was the best that I could be and that I would exit into the best job. My self-worth was so tied to how well I was doing in my career. And along the way, I think I developed a lot of bad emotional habits. I think I emotionally suffered and was anxious and developed PTSD in a lot of, and suffered and felt a lot of pain in a lot of unnecessary ways, that it almost feels like if I can make content to lessen some of that needless anxiety for students and bankers coming in, it's there's more meaning to why I went through that stuff. And also just to reflect on what I went through and understand the narrative of how much of it was actually because I didn't know any better, and how much of it is unfortunately because of certain toxic things in the industry. That has been very healthy and therapeutic for me. So that's the other thing is entrepreneurs talk about how you should do things that at the worst case scenario, even if no one likes it, no one consumes it, is beneficial to yourself. And that's kind of what this is in some sense, right? So even if my YouTube channel doesn't blow up, even if I don't become the next biggest content creator, I will still have this journal log of self-therapy that I'm doing. And I do think it's really helping. And tied to that actually is a creative outlet. As we go through college, we start to brand ourselves and put ourselves into these neat little boxes. For me, it was, oh, I'm the finance guy, or I'm like the charismatic Wall Street executive guy. Or later it was the Hollywood guy. Maybe I'm the founder guy. And I think those boxes can be very helpful for us to give ourselves identity, give ourselves direction. And it can also be very helpful when you're recruiting because people know where to place you and how to evaluate you. What I think can be self-sabotaging there is that because I put myself in this finance boy little box, I neglected the side of myself that really likes creating and building something. In high school, I was in theater and choir. I like being goofy and funny. And because I was in these roles like strategy and banking where I was working 80, 90 hours a week, I didn't really have the ability to really flex that muscle, other than cracking a joke in the office. Content creation as an avenue has been super energizing and fulfilling for me just to express my just as a creative outlet. Probably the biggest main reason is because I so full-heartedly believe that the creator economy, that individual creators are going to be running the world in the next 5-10 years. My experience on Wall Street and Hollywood and with digital media startups kind of have given me this unique perspective into distinctly understanding the future of media, the future of like how ad revenue works, how advertisers think, how people consume media and entertainment and what they want. To me, it's so blatantly obvious that we are at such early stages of where we will be. This is made up numbers, but I think maybe like 5% of people are content creators or create content right now. I think within the next 5 years, it's going to look more like 60%, and then it's ultimately going to go to like 90%. It'll become less and less stigmatized and more beneficial to create content. It'll be social clout, social status. It'll be necessary for selling yourself to jobs. It'll be important for dating. It'll be important for everything. Even in the short amount of time I've been a content creator on TikTok, I've developed friends, I've developed a community, met really cool people that I wouldn't have otherwise. There's like partners at VC firms and people from tech companies that are reaching out to me to network. Like, this is the future of content creation, in my opinion. From a consumer's perspective, previously we just had like the A-list Hollywood celebrities, and then we had like the most popular person in our school or the office, and then there was like nothing in between. The future of entertainment, it's already looking like this, but the future of entertainment, your portfolio of influencers and famous people that you follow is going to range from the mega stars like the Marvel leads and the Brad Pitts, all the way down to your local town influencer that does branding deals with your local diner. Because no matter how hot you are, smart you are, rich you are, how high your production value is, you are not going to be able to scratch a certain itch I have as much as like a YouTuber with only 10K subs that is also an Asian American, worked on Wall Street, but likes to talk about anime and psychedelics and surfing and traveling to Spain and stuff like that. I'm going to resonate with that guy's advice and content 10 times more than anybody else. And because he's a smaller influencer, I'm going to be able to have a much more direct line of communication and interaction with him. Therefore, I'm willing to support him and probably pay him more on a monthly basis than maybe I would pay like a mega influencer. Other than like blockchain and AI, like the creator economy is going to be, it's going to be so big. It's going to be so huge. Me creating content is a bet on the creator economy. It's a bet on the fact that content creator is going to be more and more, like 10, 100x more important to the future world than they are today. And it's also just like a bet on me that I think I have what it takes to maybe do it. Also, the idea of just being part of this new wave of creators while it's super undersaturated and helping each other figure it out, I think that's super cool and fun. So yeah, that's where my head is at. If any of this was interesting or valuable to you, please drop a like and subscribe, and I will see you in one of my other videos. Peace.